John Wayne, known for his tough guy image, was not just a beloved actor, but a man with strong opinions, especially when it came to certain Hollywood figures. Though he was a symbol of strength and masculinity, there was another side to him, a man who held grudges. Surprisingly, some of the biggest names in Hollywood were on his hate list. But what made these actors so disliked by John Wayne? His rivalries were not just about competition in films, but personal issues, egos, and deep conflicts that made Wayne despise these stars. This side of John Wayne's personality is often overlooked. Today, we are going to reveal the 6 actors John Wayne hated the most and the reasons behind her dislike. Before we dive into video, please subscribe our channel. John Wayne's journey to fame was not an easy one. Born Marion Robert Morrison on May 26, 1907, in Winterset, Iowa, he faced many hardships early in life. His family moved to California when he was young, but life was far from easy. Wayne grew up in a lower middle-class household, and his father, a pharmacist, struggled to make ends meet. As a child, he had to deal with his parents' divorce, which left him with a sense of instability. Wayne's early years were marked by physical challenges as well. He was a big, lanky boy, standing 6'4" tall, but he struggled to find his place in the world. His early passion for football helped him gain confidence, and he even received a football scholarship to attend the University of Southern California. However, an injury during a football practice ended his dreams of a sports career. In the 1920s, Wayne found work in Hollywood as a prop boy and extra, slowly working his way into more substantial roles. His big break came when director John Ford cast him in a leading role in the 1930 film The Big Trail. However, his initial success was limited, and he faced several years of financial difficulties before he truly became a household name. It wasn't until the 1940s, when he starred in Stagecoach, 1939, that his career took off. Despite his rising fame, Wayne's personal struggles never fully faded. His determination to overcome his humble beginnings and rise to stardom shaped his tough guy persona both on and off the screen. The experiences of his early life, from financial struggles to dealing with personal loss, fueled his drive to succeed, making him the determined and resilient figure Hollywood would later come to idolize. His early life hardships played a significant role in shaping his views and complex personality, especially when it came to relationships with others in the industry. John Wayne's rise to fame was a remarkable journey that took him from small-time roles to becoming one of Hollywood's most iconic figures. His breakthrough came in 1939 with the film Stagecoach, directed by John Ford, where he played the role of the Ringo Kid. This film not only solidified Wayne's status as a leading man, but also marked the beginning of a long and successful collaboration with Ford, one of the most influential directors of the time. The role showcased his rugged, masculine persona, and audiences quickly embraced him as the quintessential Western hero. Wayne's career skyrocketed throughout the 1940s and 1950s, with him starring in countless successful films, many of which became Western classics. Movies like Red River, 1948, The Searchers, 1956, and The Quiet Man, 1952, cemented his place in Hollywood history. He was known for portraying strong, independent characters with a sense of honor and bravery, traits that resonated deeply with American audiences, especially during post-war America. His tough guy image made him the face of Westerns, and his signature roles in these films allowed him to build a devoted fan base. As his popularity grew, Wayne became synonymous with the genre, and his name became a box office draw. However, his success didn't come without challenges. He faced fierce competition in the industry and had to deal with personal struggles, including multiple failed marriages and battles with alcoholism. Despite these difficulties, Wayne's work ethic and determination to succeed helped him rise above them, making him a true Hollywood legend. His career continued to thrive for decades, even as Hollywood itself was changing, cementing his status as a symbol of American masculinity and resilience. Number 1. Gary Cooper. John Wayne's rivalry with Gary Cooper was one of the most significant in Hollywood's golden era. While both actors shared the title of Hollywood hero, they had starkly different personas that often put them at odds. Gary Cooper, known for his reserved, quiet demeanor and portrayal of the strong, silent type, was vastly different from Wayne's loud, boisterous masculinity. The two actors' styles were often compared, and Wayne, whose brash persona was beloved by fans, took offense to Cooper's more understated approach to heroism. The tension between the two stars began when they found themselves competing for similar roles, particularly in the Western genre. Wayne believed that Cooper's reserved acting style lacked the raw, rugged masculinity he believed a true Western hero should embody. Wayne was vocal about his opinion, even going as far as to criticize Cooper's performances, calling them too soft for the roles they were cast in. Cooper, on the other hand, wasn't one to engage in public feuds, which only added fuel to Wayne's fire. Their animosity came to a head when Cooper turned down a role in The Big Trail, 1930, which was a significant break for Wayne. John Wayne believed that had Cooper accepted the role, it would have greatly hindered his own career progression. In interviews, Wayne was unapologetic about his disdain for Cooper, claiming that the competition between them was about more than just movies. It was personal. Wayne's harsh criticism of Gary Cooper highlighted his deep desire to be the best, and to make sure no one threatened his place in Hollywood. While Cooper remained the epitome of quiet strength, Wayne worked tirelessly to project a more forceful, bold presence on and off screen. The rivalry between these two icons of cinema, while never fully publicized in the same way as others, added a layer of intensity to the competitive world of Hollywood and showcased Wayne's unwavering confidence in his own abilities. Number 2. Ward Bond. John Wayne's relationship with Ward Bond is one of the most complicated in Hollywood history. Though the two initially started as friends and frequent co-stars, their professional camaraderie eventually turned into a bitter feud, marking a significant chapter in Wayne's life. The tension between them began to surface when Bond's political views began to clash with Wayne's more conservative stance. Bond, known for his outspoken support of liberal causes, became a point of frustration for Wayne, whose views leaned heavily to the right. Their falling out was not just based on political differences, but also on personal disagreements. Ward Bond was known for his boisterous personality, often attempting to challenge Wayne's authority on set, which did not sit well with the strong-willed actor. Wayne, who was known for his commanding presence and leadership on film sets, began to see Bond as a threat to his status both as a performer and as an alpha male in Hollywood. Bond's behavior, especially his tendency to stir trouble, made him one of Wayne's least favorite co-stars. Despite their professional tension, it is important to note that the two actors shared many years working together, appearing in several successful films, including The Searchers, 1956, and Rio Bravo, 1959. However, their friendship began to deteriorate in the late 1950s. Wayne, with his dominant personality, could no longer tolerate Bond's offbeat approach to filmmaking, and the two became increasingly distant, both professionally and personally. Their rivalry was marked by the bitterness that Wayne felt towards someone who had once been a trusted colleague, but ultimately became a source of frustration in his career. Number 3. Henry Fonda. John Wayne's rivalry with Henry Fonda was more than just a difference in acting styles. It stemmed from deep personal and political differences. Fonda, known for his roles in films like The Grapes of Wrath, 1940, and 12 Angry Men, 1957, was a liberal who often supported progressive causes, while Wayne was a staunch conservative with strong right-wing beliefs. This stark contrast in their political views created a serious rift between the two actors. Wayne, who was vocal about his conservative stances, didn't shy away from expressing his dislike for people with opposing views. He found Fonda's liberal leanings frustrating and often criticized him for being too soft and idealistic. On the other hand, Fonda wasn't a fan of Wayne's tough guy image and his more traditionalist approach to Hollywood. The two actors didn't get along on a personal level, and their differences only intensified over time. Their animosity was made worse by the fact that both were major stars of their era, each representing very different ideals. Fonda, who was known for his more introspective and morally driven characters, clashed with Wayne, who portrayed more straightforward, action-packed heroes. Wayne believed Fonda's approach lacked the strength and grit that he himself brought to the screen. He felt that Fonda's characters were too focused on moral dilemmas and lacked the boldness and heroism he thought a true Western hero should embody. Their political differences and personal dislikes eventually made it impossible for them to reconcile, despite both achieving legendary status in Hollywood. The rivalry between John Wayne and Henry Fonda is an example of how deeply personal and ideological differences can shape relationships, even in the world of Hollywood. Number 4. James Stewart. John Wayne's rivalry with James Stewart may come as a surprise to many, given that both actors were beloved in Hollywood for their portrayals of strong, virtuous men. However, the animosity between them was very real, largely driven by their contrasting personalities and differing acting styles. Stewart, often known for his more sensitive and thoughtful roles, was the polar opposite of Wayne's larger-than-life, rugged persona. This difference in their approach to acting led to tension, especially as their careers overlapped in the 1940s and 1950s. James Stewart's roles often involved playing the everyman, characters who were vulnerable, introspective, and driven by moral conflict. On the other hand, Wayne was known for his bold, fearless characters, who embodied physical strength and simplicity. Wayne believed that Stewart's style, which focused more on emotion and subtlety, was too soft for the kind of Western and action roles that Wayne excelled in. This made Wayne feel that Stewart was a threat to his dominance in the genre. The rivalry between the two actors became particularly evident when they worked together on The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, 1962, a film that featured both actors. While they shared the screen, their relationship offset was far from friendly. Wayne reportedly didn't appreciate Stewart's tendency to take a more methodical, emotional approach to their scenes, while Stewart found Wayne's over-the-top bravado to be exaggerated. Their differences became apparent in their interactions, with Wayne's larger-than-life ego clashing with Stewart's more humble and introspective nature. In the end, their rivalry wasn't based on any particular incident, but rather a deep-rooted difference in how they viewed their roles and their image as Hollywood icons. Despite their success, James Stewart and John Wayne's contrasting personalities ensured that their paths would never truly align in the way fans might have hoped. Number 5. Clint Eastwood. The rivalry between John Wayne and Clint Eastwood is one of the most talked about in Hollywood history, and for good reason. These two iconic actors represented different generations of Western heroes, and their rivalry was fueled by the fact that Eastwood's rise to fame came at the time when Wayne's star was beginning to fade. Clint Eastwood became the face of a new type of Western, one that was grittier, more realistic, and less about the idealized heroism that John Wayne was known for. Wayne, who had been the symbol of the classic American cowboy for decades, saw Eastwood as a direct challenge to his legacy. Clint Eastwood's portrayal of characters like the Man with No Name in A Fistful of Dollars, 1964, and his tough, morally ambiguous characters stood in sharp contrast to Wayne's traditional straightforward heroes. Eastwood's rise symbolized a shift in Western films, moving away from the clean-cut, noble figures that Wayne represented to a more cynical, violent interpretation of the cowboy. The tension between them grew because Wayne felt that Eastwood was attempting to steal the spotlight in a genre that he had helped define. He reportedly criticized Eastwood's acting style, calling him too silent and too cold. Wayne's larger-than-life personality and love for the Western genre clashed with Eastwood's more subdued, minimalist approach. The younger actor's rising popularity also highlighted Wayne's increasing irrelevance in Hollywood, which only intensified Wayne's feelings of resentment. Despite their differences, there was mutual respect between the two men. Eastwood admired Wayne's contribution to Western films, and Wayne, in his later years, acknowledged the younger actor's talent. However, their rivalry was undeniable, symbolizing the end of one era and the beginning of another in the world of Western cinema. Number 6. Richard Whitmark. The feud between John Wayne and Richard Whitmark was one of the most bitter and long-lasting in Wayne's career. It started on the set of The Alamo, 1960, a film that Wayne directed, produced, and starred in. Whitmark was cast as the villain, and from the beginning, tensions were high. Wayne, known for his powerful presence and strong-willed personality, often clashed with Whitmark, who was just as outspoken and determined in his own right. However, it wasn't just creative differences that fueled their animosity, it was also personal. Whitmark, who had a reputation for being difficult to work with, often butted heads with Wayne over the film's direction and his role. Wayne, who had a clear vision for the film and its portrayal of the heroic stand at the Battle of the Alamo, became frustrated with Whitmark's attitude on set. Whitmark, on the other hand, believed that Wayne's domineering presence was stifling and that his vision was limiting. This professional clash soon turned personal, with both actors harboring a deep dislike for each other by the time filming wrapped. Their rivalry was not just confined to the set. After the film, Wayne took every opportunity to express his dissatisfaction with Whitmark, often criticizing his acting style and behavior. He felt that Whitmark's approach to his role was too theatrical and didn't fit with the stoic, heroic style that Wayne had in mind for The Alamo. The fallout from this film carried on for years, with the two actors avoiding each other at Hollywood events and publicly making their disdain known. Despite their intense rivalry, it's clear that the animosity between Wayne and Whitmark stemmed from their differences in work ethic, vision, and personality. Wayne's uncompromising attitude as A leader on set clashed with Whitmark's independent spirit, creating a feud that would linger long after the film was completed.